Hey guys, as promised, Royal Rumble predictions video. I always do one at this time of the year, and this is that time of the year, and I know SmackDown is tonight, the event is tomorrow, so we're cutting it way close. This is CodeKayfabe's Royal Rumble prediction show, and unlike the typical CodeKayfabe show, we're going to break our usual nice format here and get real and wacky. Fantasy book who will win these suckers, but also tell you alternate paths and also tell you why one might win or not. Sure, you've probably seen other wrestling prediction shows with more high quality and with bigger voices than mine, but I have always been notorious to go against the grain sometimes, especially in these Royal Rumble prediction shows. So, with that said, we are going to work our way up from match most predictable to least predictable. And I'm going to point out every match on the card that we know of right now. So if there's a match added tonight or a match added late tomorrow, understand that it will not be in this video, but it will be talked about in the Royal Rumble post show that I plan to do probably Saturday night or Sunday morning. So, okay. So let's get things started with Dewdrop versus Becky Lynch. This is the easiest prediction of the night. Easy. Dirty finish, clean finish, it doesn't matter. It's about as easy as making something out of an easy bake oven. Becky Lynch wins this match going away. It's not even a question of if, it's a matter of how long this match will actually be, which I put the over under of that in 5 minutes. If this thing lasts longer than 5, I will be totally surprised. Yeah, Dewdrop might do something, but ultimately, she won't. She'll lose to some kind of roll up or miscue with a bonsai and get pinned or rolled up or DQ'd by a chair shot, something. But Becky Lynch is not losing this championship. Becky might technically lose the match, but I don't even bank on that. Becky for the win with an asterisk. She's winning. And by winning, I mean retaining her title in some sort of fashion. Not necessarily winning the match, because it could be a DQ finish. Next up, on the docket, as far as we know, we have Miz and Maurice against Edge and Beth Phoenix. In other words, the two power couples of the WWE that are older than sin finally mixed tagging together. Yes, Edge and Beth will win. Yes, it will probably be with a collective Grand Slam and the Spear or some sort of combination. Yes, Maurice is not going to want to get involved in the match, and yes, The Miz, aka Rainbow Dash, will have to do most of the legwork as his wife is afraid to break a nail. Yes, there will be that ultimate moment where Maurice can't run. Yes, she will try to cheat and win and not be successful. I mean, this is the very definition of formulaic. And yes, it should win. Yes, the promos and funny segments have been entertaining, as all Miz and Maurice segments are. Hell, they have their own reality show for a reason, folks. They are that entertaining. And the last few weeks have proven that. This match won't be the most interesting of the night, but it may ultimately win out in the entertainment degree. Roman Reigns defending his title successfully, spoiler, against Seth, well, freaking Rollins. Yes, I'm still not adjusted to the fact that the word freaking has to be used here. It's Seth Rollins. What's so freaking about him? The fact that he spends way too much money on suits? Yes, the promos have been good because Roman has been an ice cold shoulder of death. But he's also been ice cold when defending his championship too. Cold towards his opponents. Merciless while still giving them a chance. Yes, this will ultimately lead to Roman's defeat at the hands of someone at WrestleMania in April. But he's not losing here. This should be the best match of the night between the one-on-ones. It most certainly has a way of being that way. The two of them used to be tag team partners as WWE keeps springing up for some odd reason. But them's the rub too. And I would also expect an Usos Viking Raiders matchup to be added later too. Usos will win if the match goes on in any capacity. Just thought I'd throw that quickie in there. Next up, the Women's Royal Rumble. As I'm sure you've heard on the internet, there are only 3 logical routes this Royal Rumble can go. And I universally agree, but I'll add a 4th just for fun. The 3 routes are this. Ronda is not in the Rumble, Bianca wins. Here's scenario 2. Ronda is not in the Rumble, but, but Bailey or Asuka returns and wins. And then the other 2 scenarios. Ronda is in the Rumble, wins. Ronda is in the Rumble, loses. Now, if she loses, who does she lose to? Well, that comes down to my picks. Honestly, I do think Ronda is in the Rumble. And I'm going to go with my head rather than my second head. If you get my drift. Ronda's in this Rumble. Ronda's winning. Ronda's coming in late. Don't be surprised if it ain't number 30 itself. All of a sudden. And if Ronda isn't in the Rumble, Ronda's definitely going to be somewhere. The Becky Lynch match, perhaps, from earlier in the prediction show, that would be the only other logical spot where she could appear outside of the Rumble herself. Yes, there are going to be plenty of surprises, but a lot of those surprises that would be surprises has already been spoiled. If Bianca's winning 2 in a row, it's obviously to deal with with Becky Lynch or one of her old bugaboos. If Charlotte wins, all hell will break loose, but she'll unify the women's titles ultimately, because Charlotte is Charlotte. If Ronda's in but loses to somebody, that would be one heck of a shock. That would be the most interesting scenario. And the one probably the most talked about within those internet dunderheads of the IWC. But still very much talked about. This women's rumble has a lot more intrigue than the men's rumble. But the women's rumble will never be as big as the men's rumble because it's women's wrestling. No, that's not a sexist thing. That's a company-wide thing forever. They've never really taken women's wrestling seriously. Ever wonder why the women's rumble always goes on first? Hmm? It's not just for properly booking excitement, folks. It's because women don't realistically draw tickets. That ain't anti-social justice. That's just the reality of wrestling politics. And probably, even when new regimes come in, this will not change. Like I mentioned on the like I mentioned on my last recap stream of SmackDown from last week, the only reason Naomi and Sonya Deville is even happening tonight is underpinned racism topic here. So, that's pretty much my picks. If Ronda's in, she wins. If Ronda's out, expect a Bianca run back. Yes, there might be that strange side pick of an Asuka or Charlotte or hell, I'll even throw in Liv Morgan at 2%. But don't expect anything shocking here in the Women's Rumble. Now, the Men's Rumble, which we'll get to in a minute, has a little bit more of a controversial history and a bit of a problem on its hands. Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar. The match you probably bought tickets for. To take a page from WWE 2K, finishers on, high momentum. Anything with Brock Lesnar involved automatically is like a match in 2K with these modifiers. This match will be no different. The most well built up match in the Royal Rumble card. This one has been a dream match for many a year. In fact, it's been a dream match to one of the participants himself, Bobby Lashley. This is the reason he re signed and came back to the WWE in the first place to get this match and this payday. And now it's finally come. Will he be champion? That is the debate. If he's not, you can almost bet a title unification match at WrestleMania 38 is about to happen, which would be the best for the company considering if the rumors are true and the company's about to get sold, a more unified champion would help in the sale. Just saying. Even if that champion is Roman ultimately. But my head and my heart are united in this. Brock Lesnar will win. It will look closer than it will appear, and it will look like the bloodline may fear to prevent it. Brock Lesnar from winning, which might give Bobby Lashley an angle to get in. But I don't think that will occur. Remember, Brock Lesnar was the final boss before the final boss is replaced. And if I'm trying to sell tickets to WrestleMania, the ultimate boss fight of boss fights for the ultimate championship would be the easiest no dust sell in the history of WrestleMania. Not since WrestleMania 6, by the way, when there was another title unification match. Remember Hogan Warrior? Brock Reigns for a unified world championship would have the same vibe and mean just about as much. It's time to end the brand split, and this match could easily signal the beginning of the end of this, or easily signal the fact that they're betting around the issue. Will the loser enter the Royal Rumble? I don't know. It depends if Brock takes the L. If Brock doesn't take the L, he's not re entering the match. And neither will Lashley because, well, Brock Lesnar will probably beat him within an inch of his life. If you want a Royal Rumble winner unique for the men, you may want to wish, like me, for a Brock Lesnar victory. That's the only way to avoid this card. But that's the prediction I'm going with. Brock Lesnar for the win. Doesn't matter how, but he's keeping the greatest championship in all of sports. At least for now. Which leads us to the men's Royal Rumble affair. And boy howdy, they're saying this thing is gonna be star stacked. And I believe it. Stars aplenty. And now my heart as a fan and as a person that wants the Royal Rumble to signal the beginning of yet a new generation for the WWE, my heart wants somebody like Austin Fury or even Braun Breaker, your current NXT champion, to be victorious and end up goofily pointing at that stupid logo. But we all know the WWE, they never ever do the smart thing and the logical thing to build continuation or intrigue. They always stupidly take either the easy or incredibly fucking difficult way out. There are actually 5 scenarios here that I could see play out. That's right. This men's Royal Rumble is such a grab bag that you have 5 different scenarios at play. 1. Austin Fury wins the Rumble with the aid of Vince McMahon giving him assistance. Either a low spot or some unseen help. Or he could just troll him and put him in at the one spot, which would be an hilarious, funny joke. But there is that scenario. 2, and honestly the worst case scenario, almost winning the Royal Rumble. Sorry, JD from New York. This has a 1% chance of happening. You do forget Almas's skin color, right? There's only been one Black Royal Rumble winner that is not Samoan. One, right? It's a 1% chance. Yes, he will probably have the most eliminations. Yes, it will probably make for no goddamn sense. Yes, he will probably be the one to eliminate Johnny Knoxville. And the fact that I could say Johnny Knoxville is in the match is something else entirely. But no, almost is not winning. But just to entertain you, because you like to be entertained, I threw the scenario in there. Option C is the one you're the internet bring up. The fact that either Brock Lesnar or Bobby Lashley will lose their respective matches or reigns and end up entering the fray. I disagree with this wholeheartedly because they've already pulled this. If they do pull this, it will probably be Rollins, not any of the big guys, but I just don't see it. I just don't. And even if it is, it's goofy and shows the lack of contenders. Option 4. This is my favorite. This is where my heart lies. Braun Breaker wins the Royal Rumble. Yes, I know. Braun Breaker, NXT 2.0 champion. The representation of the demolishment of the black and gold. But if you've watched any previous videos about me and NXT, I have always said that NXT 1.0 lacked one thing that is critical. It lacked credibility. It lacked that, aha, this is something we should care about thing. Braun Breaker winning the Royal Rumble does that in an instant. And yes, Braun Breaker may not be ready for the brightest light like my lamp today, but it's better to try something new than not try something at all. And plus, this is the year that the Royal Rumble seems the most wide open for any kind of weird result happening. And if there's going to be a weird result that doesn't involve Austin Fury in it, although I do believe Austin Fury will be in the final four regardless of the match, Braun Breaker winning it would seem like the most sense. I'll say it right now. If not for anything, Braun Breaker will be the longest lasting NXT 2.0 superstar in the match based on time. That much you can bet on. And then there's option 5, which again, like the almost pick has a 1% chance of happening. Big E or King Xavier Woods winning it and elevating the New Day to WrestleMania main event status once again. It'd be such a weird thing to have either one of these win, especially King Woods, seeing that he's never won a championship outside of tag team wrestling before. It would be a beautiful story, and the fans would most certainly get behind it. Certainly with Big E getting a second chance to undo the redo. Yes, he had money in the bank. Yes, he was champion for 4 months. But yes, he does deserve a second run at it. But I feel that Big E winning the Rumble would be a last resort call. Especially if the Lesnar Lashley thing falls through and they don't feel like pulling the trigger on Fury or Breaker winning the event. There's no other big stars, let's say Sans, AJ Styles, who could realistically win it otherwise. So, much like I have done with the Royal Rumbles in the past, I'll give you 2 winners, but this year I'll give you 3 because it's that unpredictable. The men's Rumble winners that I have selected are Braun Breaker, Austin Fury, and if they're in the match, either Bobby Lashley or Brock Lesnar. And that is a very, very last resort outside of that. Expect Johnny Knoxville to get the elimination on Sami Zayn as part of a comical joke before getting eliminated, and expect a shocker or two. I don't know the exact list, but as always, I'm looking forward for when that buzzer goes off. So, there are your Royal Rumble predictions based on the card we have. If there are more matches added, or I have forgotten one, I will most certainly pick up on it Sunday or Saturday night when we do the Royal Rumble results and reaction video here. The next video will be something totally different and back to Code Equestria's roots here. A video game review or two, outside of the usual Code Kayfabe material. But leave your predictions and thoughts down at the comment section below. And yes, Turnbuckle Tavern, I'm coming for that championship. I want it. And this is just a proof of concept. Until next time, stay in the fantasy of wrestling. Always believe in kayfabe and never believe the internet. And find peace in your own nirvana. I'll see you later.